Very nice. Welcome back to the GTI project. This is my 1986 GTI that's being stripped out, preparing for autocross racing this season. And today I'm going to be replacing the rear swing arm bushing, or rear beam bushings. And this is a Mark II. This should work on the same as any other Mark II Golf, GTI, Jetta I think has the same thing as well. Pretty sure. And even Mark IIIs I think are very similar. But there's a bushing in here. Got a better view of it from the other side. Well, I guess I should say these are Delrin bushings. There's a lot of different bushings you can install. These are solid, harder than polyurethane. This is going to be a race car, so I don't care about comfort. I care about control, and that's what I'm doing. Lella Autosports is where I got them from, not sponsored. I put Delrin bushings in another video, probably already seen it on my channel, for how to put the front Delrin bushings into a GTI or a Mark II, and had some problems. The Delrin was the wrong size. I ended up having to partially machine it myself. It was a whole thing. And after I machined them, they fit. To get these in the rear should be somewhat simple. The instructions, which are very limited, they're just text instructions. I wish they had a couple diagrams. That'd be maybe helpful. But they state that you're going to take out this bolt here that goes through, and the same thing on the other side. And they said it could be particularly hard to get those bushings out. So they recommend possibly removing the entire rear beam assembly. And to do that, you got to be careful of the brake lines. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to start with supporting this with the jack, taking out that bolt, and then dropping the rear beam out. And you can see here, my stock bushing has a huge crack in it, basically the Grand Canyon in there. So they're shot. We're going to replace that, the two on either side. So let's get started and get to work. Follow along. I should have seen this coming since nothing on this car fits. Can kind of see the bolt over there is directly in line with the brake line, so I can't get the bolt out because it comes in towards the inside of the car. Same thing with this one. It's actually stuck on here mostly because the brake lines are in the way. So I do have new steel braided brake lines coming. I wasn't planning on tearing that out just yet, but I guess I'm gonna have to. So you may be able to move stuff around to get that to work. I'm not 100%, but maybe you could try. But definitely not gonna work in my case, so I'm just gonna take those brake lines out. There's a short little bit of bendable brake line there, and then it goes into hard line, and then stays hard line all the way up to the back of the brake, and then it goes back into soft line for that little bit. So the rear of a Mark II technically has 4 replaceable soft brake lines. So I'm going to replace that one, take off that one, and this one to get the beam out. So I ended up not filming taking it out of people on the phone with me. Anyway, it's actually pretty simple. Once you get the brake lines disconnected, I got a little thing here to catch the brake fluid that's dripping out. You got to take off this e-brake line. It just kind of clips underneath both sides into this metal little thing that kind of holds it in place. It goes around, and then it clips onto the back of this is the e-brake. It just kind of actuates the rear brake. Same thing on the other side. It comes around the side and then clips in there, and you just do that. But the brake line, it just stays the hard line stays disconnected. And then your e-brake will stay there, and you can pull it out just like this. So now that it's out, now I gotta try to press out these bushings on both sides. First, I gotta make sure that the new ones are gonna fit, and because when I bought the new ones up front, they didn't. So the biggest thing is whether or not they fit left to right, and that looks about right. They say that it needs to be pressed in from the inside out, so this would be like the inside of the car. So instructions say to press that out and press that one in. I would imagine this little ring, once it's pressed through, goes on this other side to kind of retain its positioning. This thing's really heavy, by the way. Actually, let's see how much it weighs. All right, so this thing's pretty heavy. Got it on here, 67, almost 68 pounds. All right, so I couldn't figure out how to get this bushing out exactly. using a map torch, getting this thing super hot, and I think it's just at the right amount of time where, yeah, see when you get it really hot, it will come right out. Now it's on fire, so is everything else. In a past life, I was a firefighter, so in theory, I'm certified for all this, but I'm outside. I got a fan going by the door, so it won't come inside my shop, but I'm gonna put this fire out, but that's easily how you get that center pin out. Now the idea is to put the Sawzall in there at the metal blade and cut down to cut the, I'm not gonna touch that because it's hot, but cut out the edge of the bearing with the Sawzall. It's a little dark out here outside the shop. And then once that's there, then you can actually punch it out. So that's what I'm gonna try to do. So maybe I'll time lapse the next one, but I got a groove cut in it, which you can't really see that well right now because it's pinched together. But once it was cut, I hit it with the hammer, it really started to move. So in theory, this thing should come out pretty easily. Well, you know, definitely can't do it with one hand. Anyway, maybe I'll time lapse the other one and we'll get a full show of what this was like getting it out. All right, got it in here, got it cleaned up, getting ready to get the bushings in. I didn't test the front ones when I put those in from the same company and they didn't fit. So testing these a lot. I did double check this pin that's in here barely, well actually I'm gonna have to stretch out that little section over there because this won't necessarily fit. The Delrin mostly fits, but I'm worried about this for right now. I use this to really clean out the center bore to make sure that's smooth. Instructions say you need to press them in from the back, which makes sense because that's where the, you can see over there, that's where the other plate used to be. So that big rounded section, whatever was on the inside of the car. So I'm gonna get that in here. Let's see if I can do it one-handed. Now, I want these to go in somewhat smooth or somewhat easy. I don't want them to be like hardcore pressed in, but I think, yep. Right, that's in, that's still loose. You want this fairly loose because the bolt needs to spin within there, so that way this whole thing can articulate, and then these should just go on there. So I'm probably not gonna be able to do that with one hand, but I'm gonna put those on. I'm gonna do the same on the other side. I'm gonna clean this up and paint it. You don't need to do that at all. This is a race car and I'm gonna have a little bit of fun. So I'm gonna paint it. Obviously I'm gonna cover these before I paint, but wanna make sure they fit first before I go with painting it. Oh, it's also a good idea to cover the ends of your brake lines, so when you're cleaning or whatever, dirt doesn't necessarily fall in there and then work its way into the pistons of the rear brake calipers. So, welcome to my winter painting area, also known as my wood area. This is not the best time to paint, but I want to paint this. I know it's not going to be the best paint job ever. I'm just going for a slight little, you know, look at it 10, 20 feet away and go like, oh yeah, it looks like there's a paint job. So I've cleaned it really well with degreaser. I pre-warmed it and then I've got it hanging over an oil heater, so at least there's a little bit of heat around it. I'm first going to hit it with this bright white and then paint it lime green, kind of like that cap there. All right, painting's not done yet. That's the first coat of green after the white. And you know, from back here, even though it's the first coat, it looks pretty good. So I'll put another coat or two on there. It's definitely not the temperature to be painting. I think today's high is like 40 something. It's really cold in the shop. So I had a couple things going on in the shop and I didn't video it. But to get the rear beam in, basically you get one big jack and balance the whole beam on it. You can just slide it in and jack it up until the mounts start to go in. And once you get it close, then what I did was kind of hit it with a hammer a couple times. You see the marks on there. It basically slid right in. And then this jack, you can put one on either side. And you can see here when I go up and down with it, it rotates it. And you can do that to rotate it up and down to align everything and get the bolts through. They're not tightened down, but the bolts are in there. And then I found out the easiest way from there. The next step is on this side. There's the this bracket that goes on and connects into here. I left that off so that way I can get the new, put steel braided brake lines in here. Got that on that side, and then got the other one on that side as well. And that's easier to put in when the beam is tilted up like that. So next step is to jack up that jack some more and connect my coilovers back in to that hole right there. I've already got my e-brake kind of on both sides. It comes back through, clips in there, and connects at the back of the caliper. Now that's if you have a GTI. Drum brakes are on all the other Mark IIs. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna tighten it up there, get all the bolts torqued down, finish putting that bracket on, and we'll be good to go. That's going to end it for the rear bushings on this car. Got it all in. Everything's good. That's the bar I made on one of my last videos. So if you're interested in how to DIY your own rear strut brace, I got a video on that. But car's all put back together. The green I think looks pretty good. I love green, so you know your results may vary. But it was pretty easy to do. The rear bushings fit a lot better than the rears fit a lot better than the fronts. I've got videos on both, so check the channel down below. Maybe I'll link them after this. But yeah, a lot more work to do on this Mark II GTI, so check back for more videos. And maybe I'm done doing the work and I'm out racing. So check it out. Be my co-driver. Hit subscribe. Let me know what you thought of the video, and catch you on the next one. Stay safe out there. Sneak peek. This guy's getting a lot more engine.